had something I wanted to talk about for a couple weeks now, and now is the time to make a video on it. So, what enables complacency in your life? I think this is an interesting one, and it's a topic that I have been most passionate about for a very young age, and I've been thinking about it a lot lately. So, let's get into it. I was thinking about how we all might have things that make us complacent in life, and how important is it to figure out what those things are, because let's be honest, nobody wants to suck at life, right? That's not fun. So one thing I saw when I was looking up being complacent in life, I was just curious to see what comes up whenever you search on the internet. I'm a search junkie, and I saw this definition. It was, your complacency in life with your life means you accept all limits and limitations. Okay, that's pretty powerful to dive into, but it instantly reminded me of a saying I came across last year that I just loved, which was, if you fight for your limitations, you get to keep them. Meaning, yes, you say you can't read, you can't do this, you can't do that, because you are a certain type of way, and that's just the way it is, right? Then you can keep those limitations of yours. If you want to argue and somebody tells you you can do these things, or tells you you're capable of something, then by all means, stay the way you are. And I mean, and that might sound harsh, but it's the truth. I think that's a really harsh truth, If you want to fight for your limitations, you get to keep them. Anyways, I love that, and that was quoted by Jim Quick, that book that I was reading forever, and I still haven't finished. But anywho, some people might find themselves asking the question, what does a complacent life even look like? What does that even mean? Okay, and I think that answer probably differs slightly from person to person, but essentially, I think the idea is it's living a life less than you are capable of, with no direction of ambition to change that. And what I mean by direction of ambition is very important, okay? Because it implies that not every complacent life is a lazy life, right? You could very well have a lot of ambition, but fail to truly direct it anywhere, which still leads to a complacent life, right? Still not good. Which then begs the question, what is contributing to this complacency in my life? The top offenders, in my opinion, are drugs, alcohol, any mind-altering substance, really, that is being abused and used excessively, and fear. Now, don't come at me like I'm some fuddy-dud, because that's definitely not what this is about. I think mind-altering substances, legal or illegal, very clearly make you forget and focus your attention elsewhere, or else people wouldn't do them, right? Yes, they help you relax when used legally and responsibly, but that doesn't tend to make people complacent. And this is an observation from my own life, so never here to pass any judgment. Just so y'all know, anything that I talk about on here is something that I have dealt with or pondered myself at one point or another. So that should give you hope of all of these random things I talk about, that anybody can overcome them. So, but fear is an interesting one and a tough one when it comes to a complacent life. I think one has to really dig deep for that one. For example, do I set all these limitations or fail to move forward in life because I'm scared? And why? Why exactly is that? Scared of rejection, scared of failure, scared of judgment, or even scared of losing a secure life. And that can be a whole other topic, but another potential complacency offender for different people might be having a good enough attitude, which is really great and positive in one sense. It's good to have gratitude for your life, but Also kind of a little destructive and possibly rooted in fear, because I feel like even with the good enough mindset, it's almost like these blinders come on for a set period of time, and then suddenly they are ripped off, and you're like, what exactly am I doing here? What have I been doing all these years, or all these months, or however long you've been complacent? And we can only hope that happens sooner rather than later, because I think the longer it takes to have those blinders come off, the worse it stings. And the farther you get from your true home and where you're supposed to be, it makes it even harder to get there in your mind's eyes, right? Like, it's kind of like the drug addict who's 50 years old, who's like totally screwed off their entire life and all of their family in it. Really hard. I mean, that's obviously a lot of complacency going on there, but yeah, it stings worse the longer it takes. And some people just never even get to that point because they've gone so long and they think, what is the point anyways? And that's sad, but these are my experiences and observations. So what do you think? Do you think it's worth it to live a complacent life? What are some complacency offenders that maybe I didn't mention that you can think of? Please, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Leave a comment. And if you like this video, please be sure to like and subscribe so I can fulfill my lifelong passion of sharing food for thought for a better life with more people. This is truly what I love to do. I mean, I know I only started doing it on video, but it's something that has been a component in my life, just with people that I know and acquaintances for a very long time. And so it means a lot to me, your support and all of that, because I'm not trying to get famous here. You know, it's not really like that. Like, obviously, the more people who can hear something that touches them is awesome. I would love that. And that's really just the goal. And we're going to talk about the big goals about all of that in another video sometime, because it's crazy, it's exciting, and it's going to hold me accountable for my dreams. So have a good night, or good day, wherever you are, whatever you're doing.